It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. Yeah. Had to break away, I'm back home. I know the people miss a nigga, feel that shit in my bones, but fuck it. Life is a finite experience. Fine dining, refusing to take this time too serious. I was hustling delirious, niggas acting nefarious. Sweet them out, clean them out the inner circle. My journals is leaking out. I tell my truth on records. Do it myself, it ain't no co-defendants. Killing all these niggas, no mask, cause bitch, I'm photogenic. These my Chaucerisms, sharp as a prism. My bars like a prison, honor and wisdom, all that I'm drenched in. Phone calls talking about business, I'm optimistic, even though I gave my ass to kiss. I don't fuck with the system, I'm my own man. Run a program without the clock, confident. Anything your faves dropping, I could top. Now they label me a hater like I'm supposed to be heard. I wear my heart up on my sleeve like it's sewn in my shirt. You swear you're hot, but your flow is just burned. They say my head getting big, I just told her it's girth, focused on work. If I thought about that criticism, I'd be on a different mission. I'm trying to find a definition of my premonitions. A crash course like collision, dog, I went the distance. My hood full of chicken spots, niggas keep the biscuits. They spilling tea up on a nigga, let it be hibiscus. That bullshit, I stay above it like a flying nimbus. Orion's image, I'm shining with higher limits. Competition coming my way, you know I am winning like the slang in London. I am in it, wrist cryogenic, that's frozen. Chosen by hoes that want my chiro in them. Role model, I'm rolling with models, y'all was printing. Load hollows for these fuck niggas y'all been sending. I pray to God I never had to hit that throttle with them. I want my cash multiplying, this is not addition. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. In this video, we're going to be getting back into Lil Wayne. All right? Now, unfortunately for Wayne, the last few times that we've actually discussed him on my channel, things have not necessarily been the most positive subject matter and topics surrounding his name. Okay? And I always preface every Lil Wayne video that I do on my channel, giving people the fact of me growing up on Wayne, looking up to Wayne. You cannot listen to J Nolan music and not hear some level of DNA from Wayne in the vocal delivery, the inflections, even some of the wordplay and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? You're just not going to be able to not hear it. He's super influential, not only to me, but my peers, people I grew up with, friends, family, folks in the industry that I know. Everybody fucks with Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Musically. Now, personally, I definitely disagree with Wayne on a lot of different levels. And unfortunately, for the last couple of years, I found myself at odds with Wayne way more than I found myself in alignment with the things that he comes out and says, right? So last night, unfortunately for him, he did some shit no different, okay? So he comes out and we get another woe is me post from Lil Wayne, right? A man who was regarded as the best rapper alive even when he wasn't, but he was on that campaign so hard that we just fell in line and allowed it to happen. And shit, I'm not mad that we did. But at the same time, now that he's in the latter years of his career, it seems like there's just some things that are not clicking upstairs for him. So he's complaining about being left out from the Grammys and, of course, Coachella, which is more recent. Now, it wasn't that long ago Wayne came out and complained about the Grammys earlier this year. Matter of fact, I believe it was the day after the show actually happened. He came out and congratulated everybody who was nominated and that won. But then he said I wasn't included as usual. So we get another one of these posts. Very similar to when Wayne came out in disappointment that he didn't have the opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl last year in New Orleans. Someone or something in his mind made him believe that since it was in his hometown and he was who he was, that he was going to be a shoe-in to perform in his home city. I guess it was because of the way that things played out for Dr. Dre and his ensemble that he put together in LA. But outside of that, we haven't seen it, right? So for the past 2 years, Wayne has just been whining, talking about being left out, talking about maybe I'm not good enough. I'm having humbling experiences. The industry is leaving me out. And I think Wayne is in a space where he needs to actually do some self-reflection and really realize who he is as a person, as a man, and perhaps what he may have done to these institutions that reside within the music industry that seem to be ignoring him in his mind frame. So here's what he had to say directly. He says, "It's truly a humbling experience when events like Coachella and the Grammys come around, and like clockwork, I'm uninvited and uninvolved. I appreciate my position or space I hold in your heart and mind, if so, because you're the humbling experience that's timeless, and for that, I thank you. I ain't shit without you." Now, let's go ahead and pull up his tweet from just a few months ago when it was Grammy season as well, just to compare what he said then. So here he said, "Congrats to the nominees and winners. Wasn't included, as usual. I gotta work harder, as usual. One time for my slime, Bill Belly." As a Wayne fan, I really don't like this shit, man. Like, he was mad about the Grammys because he didn't win or get nominated, but then going back through the For Your Considerations for the 2026 show, nobody on his team had the antennas to actually submit his music to the Grammys. He thought he was going to just be auto grandfathered into the nominations, which I told y'all a couple months ago was like super frustrating and disappointing to hear as a fan, because it's like, bro, you've been signed in the industry since you was 12, 13 years old. Wayne is pushing 50 and he still does not know how the industry really works. Because how do you expect to be nominated for a Grammy without going through the actual process? Yes, I understand for the first 15, maybe even 20 years of your career, you had Birdman and Slim and those guys that were handling those things, but you haven't even been with Cash Money. You've been nearly an independent. I won't say fully independent because he's still signed to Republic, if I'm not mistaken. But you've been the arbiter of your own ship for at least 10 years to where your so-called daddy is no longer even there. Y'all split. Y'all went separate ways. It's been at least a decade of you running your career without the Cash Money upper crust. And you still are not learning the proper ways to get your music accepted by the highest, I guess, most prestigious institutions in music. As somebody who has Grammys and has performed at the Grammys, you don't know how to get in contact with your music when submission season is open? How does that work? How do you do that? Then there's so many stories of Wayne being unprofessional, showing up late. There's videos of Wayne performing, not knowing his lyrics, needing a teleprompter. I'm not saying these things to disparage the guy. I'm saying these things because when you come out and you play victim and you act like somebody owes you something or that you're being written out of history, you have to understand your role in history. Nobody's writing Lil Wayne out of history, you know? And I don't give a fuck how many people are the biggest fans. The last time I came out and spoke about, La Russell's thoughts about Lil Wayne, I had some of his fans that really wanted to tango with me and I didn't understand. It was some dude on Twitter that was like very angry. He was from New Orleans. And I'm like, yo, you going harder than this man is willing to go for himself. That makes absolutely no sense. because the performance footage is there. People love pulling out 2006 BET Award videos like, this is what y'all missed out on. And it's like, he's not that guy anymore. Y'all love pulling up the drought is over mixtape cuts. He's not that guy anymore. Nobody knows that better than me because I was a fan of him through those moments and was hyped at those moments. He's not producing those moments. He still can rap. He can still rap at a high level. He will still get on somebody's feature and wipe the floor with a nigga today. You know what I'm saying? So that's not taking anything away from his talent, his skill, his God-given gift to rap. He was made to rap. We can't argue with that. But the problem is when the talent is not honing the craft, there are levels within that craft that are going to deteriorate. His live performance game has deteriorated. Right? Now, does he still have marquee name power in the industry? I think he does. He has Louisiana Fest that happens every year. I think the tickets sell pretty well. But to be mad that Coachella didn't book you, have you expressed interest in Coachella? Did you have negotiation talks with Coachella? Have you spoken to anybody from Coachella in the past 5 years? Have you kept that relationship open? Who is your manager? And that's the other part that pisses me off, because remember when Kendrick was announced as the Super Bowl headliner, it was the fucking engineer, aka manager, who put it out of him being disappointed and he was so heartbroken and it tore him at his core. It broke him down to his lowest moment. And it's like, who is this nigga who's not even a nigga? I think he's Hispanic, which isn't a problem. But who is this guy who's responsible for your career at this point? Your manager is your most coveted ally in the music industry, even more so than your record label. When things are going bad between you and the label, your manager is supposed to be going head to head with them motherfuckers to get that shit right. You know what I'm saying? When things ain't going right in your career, your manager is going to be the one who steps up, puts their neck on the line, has to be the bad guy, even in situations where you get to act aloof, dumb, like you don't know what's going on. Your manager's job is to be on point. Why is your manager not taking the necessary steps? If you're interested in doing Coachella, your manager should have been on the phone with them last year about 2026 Coachella. Should have been on the phone with them in 2024 about 2026 Coachella, just to keep that line of communication open. You're Lil Wayne, bro. You're not Lil Zane. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody forgot about you. You still go and do fucking concerts and dates. You still had a successful Carter 6, even though that shit was a ton of bricks. You know what I'm saying? Rapping ability was still there, but songwriting ability has not been strong. Have not made a music video for none of your songs. There was no lead single for the album. You had the Bono record. I guess you thought that was going to go. It didn't. It was used on ESPN because it was basically 2K music. That is a choice from Wayne. You're not creating music that is culturally relevant. It's relevant to the fact of Lil Wayne drops. We're going to go check it out, but it's not something that people just have to hear no more. You're at the stage in your career where people want to hear, what is Lil Wayne's life like? What does he think about? What's important to this guy? I swear, if Lil Wayne came out with an album tomorrow that actually gave you those things with the right production, he would be right back where he was. Maybe not the top selling artist, maybe not the top guy, but he would be going through a very similar situation as to what T.I. is going through with Let 'Em Know right now. T.I. is running through the game, having a moment like he ain't never left. And he ain't had a moment like this in fucking 14 years. T.I. You know what I'm saying? I think his last
big album was 2012. I think that was right before he left Atlantic. He's been independent. And he's doing it independently now with Empire. So what is the excuse when your counterpart, somebody who's around your age, of your era, a little after, if you want to count like Wayne's like first appearances, but of the era, he's independent on Empire, and he's having more fanfare, more bookings, more of a cultural impact. And he was never regarded as the best rapper alive, was never regarded as the top MC in the game. Nobody ever would have fought to see T.I. at the number one of nobody's list. Let's be clear. Now, if you talk Southern rap, T.I. then becomes a strong candidate. But when you just go hip hop, folks didn't fight for him like that. Right? And I'm one of the biggest T.I. fans. So why is it that you have a whole album out that's not impacting on that level, and he got one single, two singles actually, because Trauma Bond is doing pretty well on its own, but it's not as strong as Let 'Em Know. But Let 'Em Know is going crazy. He got one song, you got a whole album, and it's like night and day. That's because we saw T.I. go through a business tier in his career. Yes, Wayne started Young Money. Yes, Wayne signed Nicki Minaj. Yes, Wayne signed a whole host of artists, but he never became an executive. He never actually focused in on his business. He has a fucking sports agency, Young Money Sports Agency, and I don't think he has any involvement with the company. Good financial move. But do you know how any of this stuff actually works? He hasn't evolved. You know what I mean? But then now he's coming out complaining every couple months about being left out or things that he's not receiving or things that he's not being considered for. And most of them are super attainable for somebody like him if he just goes through the proper steps. He won't do it. Why? Because he probably never had to, right? He never had to know what the proper steps are. There was always people in place to keep Wayne. I'm sure if Tez was still managing Wayne today, he would have got that Grammy nomination, even off of the mid-level album he put out. It would have been nominated if Tez was in play because it's Lil Wayne. You don't not nominate Lil Wayne if his shit was actually submitted. But he's not in that camp no more. Now we see what's going on. So I think Homeboy just need a whole new team. He needs a whole new attitude. He need to slow down. Write down a list of what it is you want to accomplish for 2026, 2027, and put a team of people around you that can help you execute. Get a team of people around you. I don't care if it got to be Swiss Beats. I don't want to hear a bunch of Swiss Beats produced tracks. But if it's going to be what it takes to lock you in the studio and make better music, because the last real hit that you had was with him, and that's not a shot, but that was a big record. What the f***? 5, 4, 3, 2, all I want go. Bow, what the fuck? That shit was a big one. So if you got to get with Swiss, and, you know, Swiss ain't no stranger to this. In DMX's later days, he had to rein X in. You know what I'm saying? Give him some direction, try to help him where he could. Make that call, man. Call your boy Tez back. I don't know what the relationship is like between y'all. Where's Mac Main? Mac Main should know better. Is Mac Main just chilling, resting on his laurels? Like, you got too many people that been with you through the whole thing for you to be going out like that. So, and I don't want anybody to interpret this video as me tearing down Wayne. I'm a huge Wayne fan. And seeing Wayne in this current stage that he's in is highly frustrating and disappointing. Somebody gotta do the real, gotta be the real. You know what I'm saying? That don't make a nigga like or love you no less. You need more people that's willing to do that. Anyway, let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good out there, man. Peace.
Yeah, the glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'm never politicking, the drama be piling on. Father and greats unacknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts, every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I could do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I'll turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I read for filth. The sympathy calls, consulting for the stacks I built.